When the software initiates, you'll begin with a top-down view of the brain. The default mode is to have the head function selected at the bottom of the screen. The other buttons at the bottom of the screen will move you away from the MRI images. Do not press any of these buttons. You'll see on the top right of the screen are different selections for moving to different views of MRI slices. We can select either the sagittal view, which gives us a view from the side of the head, or we can select the coronal view, which gives us a view from the front of the head to the back of the head. For now, let's return to the default mode of the horizontal MRI images from the top of the head to the bottom of the head. From this view, it may still be difficult to orient yourself properly. To reorient ourselves, we can reposition the brain and rotate it. To do this, press down on the screen, slide to the top, and then slide from left to right. This will give us a side-on view of the brain to help us see from the front of the face to the back of the head. With this horizontal MRI image slice selected though, you won't be able to actually see the different MRI slices. So let's return to the sagittal view so we can now see the different slices of the brain. This will give us a view to accomplish our first learning objective, to identify the different lobes of the brain based off of their anatomical area and their function. To do this, we'll go to the main atlas menu on the top left of the screen. First, we'll press that. This will give us several options. The first option is the lobes option. We'll go ahead and press on that. You'll see presented are the 4 lobes of the brain, including the frontal lobe, the occipital lobe, parietal lobe, and the temporal lobe. Because we're looking at the brain from the front to the back, we'll start with the frontal lobe by pressing on that button. The frontal lobe will become highlighted in red, and you'll see at the very bottom right of the screen is text identifying that brain area. If we want to zoom in and out, we can hold down with both fingers, and to zoom in, expand or widen. To zoom back out, close up. To move the image, we can simply hold down with both fingers again and move to the left or move to the right. If we want to move through this series of MRI image slices, there's a button at the top right with 2 arrows on it. Press on that button. To move further away towards the right side of the brain, hold down with 1 finger and slide up. To move closer to the left side of the brain again, hold down with 1 finger and slide down. If you want to identify some of the functions and features of the area, press on the text identifying it on the bottom right. You'll see the frontal lobe consists of the prefrontal cortex and motor areas that are involved in speech and movement. With this view, we can also identify the remaining 3 lobes of the brain. Moving more posterior or back from the frontal lobe, we next have the parietal lobe. The parietal lobe contains somatosensory cortical areas that are involved in processing touch information from our bodies. Moving even further back from there, we have the temporal lobe. The temporal lobe contains the auditory cortex and auditory tracts, which are essential for processing auditory information from our ears for hearing. Moving towards the very back of the brain, finally we have the occipital lobe. The occipital lobe contains visual cortical areas that are involved in processing information from our eyes. So you'll see that the cortical lobes contain cortex for higher processing of different functions.